why I came today was to share some knowledge. We had a great group of young children out there that were kind of eager to learn. I wanted to take this opportunity to be able to answer any questions they had, and I was very excited to be here with this group.
So my purpose here today is to come out and just be that voice that that our youth needs right now, to give some encouragement, to give some sound advice, and just help them in whatever way I can.
So currently I'm the go-to guy of Reading Heart. Legally, I'm the CEO because the founder of it, Danae, she did it when she was 8. So legally, she couldn't own it, but she is technically the founder of it. Right now, I'm the go-to guy, so I'm helping her try to be as successful as she possibly can with the organization. I guide her, try to give her some adult advice. It is a youth-run organization. It's one of the largest in the country, so they do make some young decisions, but I'm the go-to guy, and the reason why I'm that title is because if they get stuck in a situation and are looking for some more mature advice, they come to me, and I just give them the best information I can.
I would say my advice for the mentors would be to look at each kid as they are, not put a blanket over them and treat each kid the same. There's different attitudes, there's different backgrounds that some of these kids come from, and when you deal with children, you have to treat them as they come instead of treating all of them the same.
If I was to give advice to parents, I would say invest in our future and start by your kids. We're going to have to invest in our kids one way. Either we're going to have to bail them out of something, or we can invest them at a young age and they can just be successful in it. But either way, we have to invest in our kids. And it's easier to invest in the kids at a young age, or should I say it's cheaper to invest in the kids at a young age and help them be successful than try to bail out a grown adult. Most parents don't want a grown adult living in their house. So if we invest in their education and invest in their success at a young age, hopefully by the time they get older, they will be able to be successful in whatever they're trying to do.
My advice about Black History Month and educating our youth is not to only listen to what you guys are reading in class. There's a lot of different websites. There's the History Channel. There are profiles on Facebook, Instagram, any social media that you look into that gives the facts that you won't see or won't hear in class or at school or reading out of a book. So my advice would be just to start to dabble in some things other than just school to learn about Black History Month, and not only keep it for Black History Month, but to do that research throughout the year.
Yes, what I wanted to tell the kids, and I wanted to give them some knowledge about credit, like having good credit. It can be a credit card or just as a person goes a long way. People want to invest in you, people want to believe in you. But if you're a good person, then people will be willing to take a risk with you when it comes to being successful. If you're a good person, it helps you with job interviews, it helps you with business adventures, and just anything in life. But if you're not a good person and you don't have good credit, that affects you in many ways, financially, spiritually, emotionally. And so I wanted to tell these kids, hey, look, who you are today as a person means a lot. A question I always ask kids is, there are people in your school right now that you know for a fact if they ever applied for a job with you in the future, you wouldn't hire? And they're like, yeah. And that's because they don't have good credit now as a person. Even at this age now, people are judging you. People are wondering where you will be. So always keep your credit positive in life.
For the students that were here today, I hope you guys took everything that we said today to heart. There was some good information that was shared, and that's not information that you're going to get every day. So when you have these opportunities, when people are coming in to help you out, what I would like to see is you guys soak that information in and start to use that, and hopefully your life will be better than what you expected it to be.
I would tell people that money comes and goes in your life. How successful you are with it depends on what you do when you have it. It's easy to spend money, it's hard to make money, but the money that you have can also help you make money. So I would let people know that for every dollar you get, think wisely of what you're going to do with it. Try to invest it in things. Try to make it to where your money starts making money for you, so you'll always have internal riches and wealth.
When it comes to organizations, a lot of people ask me about the fire department. And one thing that I do as a recruiter is I reach out to kids just to try to plant that seed for them. When I was younger, I saw the fire engine going back and forth down the street, and that was the seed that was planted for me. But now I feel like it's important for me to come speak to the kids, not just here at this school, but anywhere I go. If I see a kid that's at the park, if I see a kid at a basketball game who knows that I'm a firefighter, I'll sit there and I'll have that conversation with them. So if being a firefighter is something that you would want to do, I would say start doing that research now while you're in high school, and not even if it's just a firefighter. It's any career that you want to see yourself in later down the road. Start doing that research now to see if that's something that you want to do. The internet is full of information and you can get anything there. So start doing that research at a young age, and hopefully it will point you in a direction that will make you successful in that. My last bit of advice is whatever situation or position that you're in right now, or even later, things can always change. Some people get down on themselves because they got a bad grade or because they didn't pass a class, but that's not where you have to stay. Use that as motivation to push yourself forward and accomplish those goals that you set for yourself. So my advice to the youth is just persevere through everything, any obstacle that you run into, any situation that you come in through, just persevere.
All right. So first we have Mr. Dwayne Ferguson. Okay, Mr. Dwayne Ferguson is from Reading Heart. Okay, Reading Heart is a nonprofit 501c3 book donation program dedicated to serving children in hospitals and children in areas with limited access to books. Okay, Dwayne's daughter, Danae, started Reading Heart at the age of 8 because she wanted to share her passion for reading and the joy of escaping in a good book with other children. An avid book reader and advocate for education, Danae wants to spread the joy of reading and improve literacy, not only in our community, but also across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dwayne Ferguson. Y'all can clap now. Come on now. Come on now. All right, next we have Mr. Michael McIntyre. Okay, Mr. McIntyre is a first responder, Fresno Fire Department. Okay, he's born and raised in Inglewood and Compton, California. He moved to Fresno, California and started high school at Roosevelt. After high school, Mike attended CSU Fresno and majored in mass communication and journalism. While attending Fresno State, Mike played D1 basketball under the legendary Jerry Tarkanian. Mike's greatest joy is being a husband and father. He is an engineer firefighter with the City of Fresno Fire Department. He takes pride in being a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. His heart is with the youth and giving back where he can. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael McIntyre. All right, so we'll work our way left to right here. We'll start with Mr. Ferguson. So we heard a little bit about your background and your introduction, but if you'd like to go a little bit more in depth, tell us a little bit about who you are and why you do what you do.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. All right, so I am the father of Danae. Let me just give you a little background about Danae and what she's accomplished, and then I can explain what I am to her. Her organization is called Reading Heart. It is the largest youth-ran nonprofit in the country. She started it when she was 8 years old. She is turning 18 this year. So she's been running her business, obviously, for about 10 years. Size-wise, it is very large. She's statewide now. She'll be going countrywide soon. Her college is fully paid for because of her organization. And in the last 3 years, she's made more than I have. And she still attends high school, still does her sports and everything like that. But she's a very successful young lady at the age of 17. Where I come into play, I am, my background is in child care and psychology. We own a marketing firm. And I'm a major supporter of her being successful. What I plan on doing here today with you guys is answering any questions you have on how you guys can be richer than your parents by next year. And I'm going to teach you all those secrets based on the questions that I asked you. But I'm not here to talk more about myself versus what I can offer you guys with advice. So if you have any questions, please ask them. That's a little bit about my background.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. McIntyre, same question. Okay, a little bit more in depth about who you are, what you do.
Okay. Yeah, so like I said, my name is Mike McIntyre. Grew up in Inglewood and Compton. Moved here when I was in high school and played basketball at Fresno State. And one of my goals in life was to make it to the NBA. Like you said, I played for legendary Jerry Tarkanian. We had quite a few All-Americans on our basketball team when I was in college. And that's when reality hit that I wasn't that good. So I had to make some adjustments when it came to what I wanted to do with my life later in my career. So when I was a senior in college, I ended up breaking my ankle and wasn't able to play my senior year. So when I graduated, I started to look into what my degree was in, which is communications. So I moved back down to Los Angeles. Things didn't pan out how I wanted them to pan out, and I started thinking about my first love, which was becoming a firefighter. Like I said, I grew up in Inglewood and Compton, and where I grew up at, we used to see the ambulance, we used to see the fire engine going up and down the street all the time just because of the nature of what was going on during that time. So, like I said, I looked back into my first love, which is becoming a firefighter. Started doing some research, made a couple of connections with some other African-American firefighters with the city of Fresno, and from there it's been a wrap. I started that journey in 2005, and it took about 3 years to get hired. 2008 was when I started the department, and I've been there ever since. My heart is in helping in any way I can, whether it be the community when it comes to provide medical care, whether it be mentoring young students, because when I was young, I didn't have what I'm trying to give back right now, and I think it's definitely a benefit to the youth and also just to our families, just to see positive men and women giving back to their community when it comes to the youth and making sure you guys are in the right direction. So. Just like you said, I am open to all questions, and just hope we can be a light for you guys.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, I'm going to ask some person-specific questions at this time. Okay, so Mr. Ferguson, what is the importance of literacy?
So literacy now is a priceless thing. Everything revolves around reading. Obviously, you guys your math has changed now, and you notice that it's not just necessarily 2 plus 2. It's questions and answers with that. But literacy is a gateway to success. That keeps the rich and the poor separated. Most people that are in very high income areas, it's because they have the tool, which is literacy. They have the ability to read. To give you some crazy stats, in lower income neighborhoods, there's 1 book per 300 kids. In higher income neighborhoods, there's 13 books per child. There's a 1 million word mark. So most kids, when you go to school in kindergarten and first grade, kids of higher income have read or heard 1 million more words than kids in lower income. And that's by design. If you want to keep knowledge from somebody, you make sure they can't get the knowledge from books. So, and some of you guys may know people who don't know how to read. They're not going to tell you because the system is designed to let people get by without having the ability to read. But if you want to be successful in the world, you have to read. If you want that major contract, if you want to buy a house, a car, you have to be able to read what you're signing. And that is the tool to be successful.
Perfect. All right, Mr. McIntyre, specifically for you, given that you broke your ankle your senior year, how important is it for a student athlete in particular to have a backup?
It's definitely important to have a backup plan. There's so many athletes who you see out on the court, whether it be high school, whether it be college, who have had cardiac issues. You think of Bronny James a couple of years ago. He's one of many who was able to still play. There's still a lot of guys out there who have had cardiac issues that put them out, that was promised to go to the NBA. But because of that issue, now they don't have anything to fall back on because they put all their ducks in one basket. Like I said, I played with, I think we had 7 All-Americans on our team, and I was a walk-on. So I wasn't a scholarship player, I was only a walk-on. And there was 2 other walk-ons that I'm still in contact with right now. And when I look at my life compared to some of those All-Americans who had everything given to them, and they either made it to the NBA for a short stint, or they didn't make it to the NBA because they made some type of bad move, whether it be, and I don't know if you guys know about what happened at Fresno State, but one of my teammates is using a sword to mess with some kids, just trying to bully them. There was another one who ended up shooting and killing somebody because the drug deal went bad. When you don't have a backup plan, sometimes you set yourself up for failure. I knew that getting a degree would help me in whatever I wanted to do, even if I didn't make it to the NBA. So going to school, learning the skills that, like you said, literacy is huge. I was able to navigate the professional world because I know how to read, because I know how to study, because I know how to do certain things that some of my teammates didn't take serious. They sometimes didn't go to class, they just showed up at practice, played in the games, and that was it. So, yeah, that's, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so back to Mr. Ferguson. And before I ask him a question, who's heard of Reading Heart? Has anyone heard of Reading Heart? Okay. All right. So Reading Heart, you guys do book giveaways, right? What is a average book giveaway or large book giveaway that you guys do?
Okay, so to give you an idea of numbers, she's collected about 1.2 million books since she started. She handed out about 700,000 to date, maybe a little bit more. On average, the minimum that we do event-wise is about 500 kids per session, and we go all the way up to handing out 24,000 books in a day, which is very important because the kids that we serve are kids who have never had a book. And when I mean that, we have literally been to some cities where a kid has never touched a book, and they're 8 years old. And it's a weird thing because we all know some people who don't have food, and we have people that don't have clothes, but there are people that are deprived of knowledge because they can't read. So when we're handing out a free book, that's priceless to a lot of these kids. It's priceless to anybody. So outside of handing out the book, we encourage people to read and share. A lot of you guys have knowledge. A lot of your parents have knowledge. But that knowledge is great until you learn to share that knowledge. Just in this room alone, if you guys were to work as a group, you guys can go almost anywhere. Me and Mike have stuff that we have experienced. Your teachers have stuff they experienced. But it does no good if you don't share it. So handing out a book is one thing. Sharing that knowledge is another thing. But we're going to be handing out about 1 million books this year. That's basically the question.
1 million books, absolutely. Absolutely, that's good stuff. All right, Mr. McIntyre, you mentioned some of your teammates, I believe, went on to the NBA, played professionally. We hear a lot of statistics about professional athletes when they come out of their playing days, they come across struggles financially. How much does financial literacy play in the role of an adult?
I say it starts when you guys are in high school. I teach my daughter. My daughter's a freshman in high school. I have 3 other kids too that are younger than her. But we actually just opened up her first checking account a couple of months ago. And the reason why I did that is because that's what my mom did for me. And I know that
what she instilled in me when it comes to saving, when it comes to investing, it's put me in a position that I'm in right now. Me and my family, we do a lot. We do a lot of traveling. We've been to different countries, and it's only because of that financial literacy that I have. And I didn't read anything off of like what's the famous guy that everybody uses. I can't remember what's the name.
Warren Buffett?
Not Warren Buffett. Yeah, there's a guy who mentors a lot of people when it comes to money. You don't always have to do that. You don't always have to spend money to learn how to save money. Relationship is important. So if you know somebody who can just give you a few pointers and start looking into those things yourself, do the research yourself, it will help you in the long run. I'm a lifelong learner in many things that I do, so I focus on trying to better myself in being a husband, being a father, being financially stable. So my job also helps. One of the things that I'm here for is because I'm a firefighter. And one thing that I do as a recruiter for the fire department is I reach out to everybody, but especially our young black men and our young black women. Fresno has yet to have a black female firefighter. And there's been a couple who have started the process, but actually didn't get hired because they didn't pass certain tests or interview. But I think it's important. I have a few female friends in Los Angeles who are firefighters, engineers, captains, and chiefs, and it's doable. But if you don't see a black female firefighter, then you don't think that it's possible. Just like I didn't think that it was that possible for me to become a firefighter because I didn't see that many black firefighters. And I know I'm going on a tangent right now. We were talking about financial literacy. But let me get back to that. So quite a few of my teammates who ended up going to the league for a couple of years or just for 1 year, they are now working, not to put shade on anybody's profession or career or job, but they're working odd jobs where they aren't making much money. They were promised multi-millions because of their status. They were All-Americans in high school. They played for Jerry Tarkanian. We won a championship. They got drafted to the NBA, and now I see them and they're not doing good at all. And then I think about myself, where, not to toot my own horn, but I'm financially stable, I'm financially comfortable, and I'm able to do things for myself and for my family, and even for the community. I invest a lot of money in the youth. I'm a part of an organization, a fraternity, that our focus is on young black men. So when there's something that is going on in the community, if a kid needs a tie, I'm gonna go buy that kid a tie. If a kid needs a shirt, I'm gonna go buy that kid a shirt. If a kid is wanting to go to a skate party that we're putting on for the youth and they don't have the money for it, I'm gonna sponsor a couple of those kids. So it's very important that you don't fall into the fads right now. I know fashion is a big thing. I like fashion too, but I have money to do it. I tell my niece all the time, she wants all of the new Dunks, she wants the new Jordan, she wants to do this, wants to do that. And I have to remind her sometimes, like, hey, if you plan on getting out of your mom's house, you got to start saving up some of that money and making better financial decisions for yourself. You just bought your first car, and I always tell her that was a lot of money to spend for a car, but it's something that she wanted, something that she's proud about. I'm okay with that. But if you still want to move out of your mom's house, you got to make sure that you're making much more money than you're receiving. So being financially stable is important, and making sure that you guys are starting at a young age. Don't wait until the last minute. When you go to college, there's going to be creditors out there. Hey, take this credit card. You have a $500 limit. They don't tell you that when you have that $500 limit, that if you go over that $500 limit, they're going to charge you $50. They don't tell you that when you have your monthly payment, that $25 on that monthly payment is not paying any part of that card off, and you're only going to continue to accrue interest on that. So it's important to have financial literacy.
All right.
We got 3 more questions, about 6 more minutes here. We're gonna get this going. Mr. Ferguson, specifically for you. As an adult now, why did you decide to help children in the Fresno community?
Okay, so the question is, why did I decide to help children in the Fresno community? So I used to have an organization called Black Exchange, and it was the 3rd largest Black networking site in the world. I travel up and down the country in tour buses, giving presentations, trying to network all the Black business owners in one location. So think of it as a Facebook 15 years ago for Black business owners. And as I was traveling, I realized the struggle that we had in LA was the same struggle that we had across the country. One time I was literally at a convention in LA and I had to fly to Washington, DC, and it was weird because the same struggle we had on one side of the country versus another side was the same. And I couldn't comprehend how that's possible. How is it that we have a lot of uneducated African Americans on one side of the country and the same on the other? And I was like, what's the common ground? Well, the common ground is knowledge. We're deprived of it. And raise your hand if anybody in this room has an uncle that has loaned you $1 million cash, interest-free, right now.
Nope.
No.
It's enough.
Yeah. How many of you guys right now have a checking account?
There we go.
How many of you guys have a credit card with 0% interest? How many of you guys are going to be given a car and a house right after you graduate? So, car and a house. Okay. So all of you have that same struggle as the kids do on the other side of the country. But there are people that get a car when they turn 16. Their parents own multiple houses and they don't have to buy one. They already have a credit card with 0% interest. We can talk about that later. They have a checking account, savings account, and a 529 account. And I'll throw that out to you guys later. But if you can't answer yes to all those questions, then there's a problem. You're guaranteed to already have a struggle. So as I was traveling throughout the country, I realized that a lot of knowledge is not given to us. We don't have those rich uncles and aunts. Raise your hand if you know what a 529 account is. 529 account is something where you guys can start building wealth at a young age. It's not a checking, it's not a savings, it's a 529. Anyways, as I was learning that, I go, why is it called 529? Why isn't it called checking or savings? Well, because if someone told you 529, you don't think wealth. But to people that come from a high income area, they understand what that means. So, as I was doing Black Exchange, I was dealing with a lot of dope entrepreneurs set in their ways. And their ways weren't always the best path. And I realized in order for us to change our community, we need to go back to the youth and explain what a 529 account is, how important it is to have a checking and savings, to understand debt to income ratio. And we have to start sharing that information now. This question is going to be asked later, but I want to give you some information. Amazon stocks. If you would have bought Amazon stocks, if I would have bought them in 1999, it would have cost me $200 to buy 100 stocks. Today, those same 100 stocks are worth $350,000. So if my parents would have put $200 in stocks in 1999, I would have $350,000 cash right now. We don't know that. They know that. So some friends that you have, their parents put $200 aside, and they're going to have $350,000 when they graduate. And I don't think that's fair. Do you guys think it's fair? Wouldn't you, raise your hand if you would like to have $350,000 cash when you graduate. We didn't know that could be done. So what I'm trying to do is get the knowledge that was given to me and give it to the youth. And that's why I'm investing back in our community.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. All right, so we got 2 more minutes till this bell rings, so we're going to go 2 questions here. Mr. McIntyre, what advice would you give teenage Mike?
That's a good question. The advice that I would give teenage Mike is man, that's a good question.
We can come back to you now. I can come back to you.
Yeah. You go ahead and take that.
I would have gave young Dwayne to buy Amazon stocks in 1999. I would have told young Dwayne, every dollar you have, you can turn it into $100. You spend it, it's gone. You invest it, it comes back to you. In the Jewish community, just so you guys understand, their $1 changes 18 hands in their community before it leaves. So their $1 is worth $18 before it leaves. In the African American community, we're $30 in debt before we get our first dollar. So just keep that in mind. When you get $1, you're negative 30. Other communities turn their dollar into 18. So you can understand the spread. I would have told myself at a young age, take that money and make money with it.
All right, so So what I would have told my young self is put in the work that others are not putting in. When I was playing basketball in high school, it wasn't until my junior year when I went to a basketball camp and I started to get some recognition and I started to see what the coaches were looking for. And that's when I started putting in the extra work. Not saying that that was too late because I was still successful in making it to a D1 college and playing ball. But if I would have started in junior high, being in the gym before everybody else and staying until after everybody else left, having that Mamba mentality, I would probably have made it to the league. So that's one of the things that I would have told myself. And then the other thing is take advantage of every opportunity that I have. Sometimes people have these opportunities that are right in their face and they don't realize how valuable it is. So being able to recognize what these opportunities are and just going after it and giving it 110%.
All right, guys. Hey, I want to thank our speakers today. Sorry, what you said.